This is the first thing you should understand. Second thing, you should never do anything totally free to anybody, including your children. No, don't do. You can get everything in life except parents' love. They're all really true, but don't do it free, because it really becomes extremely expensive at the end. So always you assign certain amount of money. What I want water in a glass. Oh, that way. Highly high tech, No, I want in a glass. Glass is fine. You should never do any project free with anybody, because free is never respected. Free has its own backlog. Free has its own expensive methodologies to find out. Never do that. I'll give you a small example. I grew up in a village known as Shiggaon, 30 kilometers from Hubli, and I was extremely fond of atlas, that is school atlas, and it was not available in our village. So I said once, when I grow up, if I have money, I'll buy a lot of atlas and give it to every school, because there may be many children like me, they would like to read the atlas. The intention was genuine, methodology was wrong. So I bought a lot of atlas and I gave it to many schools, and I always assumed, oh, they are using and the children are enjoying. After a year or two, once I was traveling in some village, it was evening time, 5 o'clock, it was groundnut season, in village you get groundnut, they sell in the evening 5 o'clock. If you are from village, you will understand that. Fresh groundnut. So I went to I was on the road and I said, can I have half a kg of groundnut? That fellow weighed and told me, you take it. I said, I don't have any bag. So there was there was no plastic bag there, and it was good there was no plastic bag. Then he said, if you have in a paper, you give it to me. He said, I don't have. Then I said, then I don't want. He said, he never wanted to lose a customer like me. He said, okay, don't worry. He tells somebody, there is a lady, foolish lady by the name Sudha Murthy. She has given atlas. That paper is very good. Tear 2 pages. Okay, bring it here and we can put the groundnuts on that. That time I realized, anything you give free, people will misuse. Next time onwards I said, okay, 2 rupees. It will cost me 200, but I will charge at least 2 rupees or maybe 10 rupees, some range, then only I will give it to you. I can give you numerous examples, because I work in 6 states in India: Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Orissa, Maharashtra, and off late, in Punjab. I can give numerous examples, every state. Thank you very much. Every state, the methodology is different, but people will not respect anything you give free. This is the second lesson I learned in philanthropy. Third one, I will tell you, how people change their mindset once you start giving, because if there is no exit policy, then how people take advantage of the situation. I used to come to my office every day, and one boy I saw on the road, smart boy. Every day when there is a traffic light and my car will stop, he will come and he will ask me every day without fail a pair of shoelace. And I will tell him, no, I don't want, because I wear chappals. But he will ask. And I always felt that boy is very smart. And one day, once if you are a woman and if you are a teacher and you are a computer system analyst, you talk 3 times more than a normal person. And I'm teacher, I'm a female, and I was also a system analyst. So 2 to the power of 3 I can talk. So I talked to him and I asked him, what's your name? Some name, he said. Then I said, what do you study? He said, no, I go to school, but I can't study much, because morning to evening I have to stand here and sell shoelaces. I said, how much profit do you make? I said, I sell about 10 rupees per day, or some 20 rupees per day. Actually, he told me 20 rupees per day. Then I told him, look, I will give you 600 rupees per month. You go to school. Then again I have a methodologist to check. I said, but you have to come every month and take the money from my office. And once in a year you have to show me your progress report. He said, okay, and every month he will come first week. He will take 600 rupees, and once in a quarter he will show his progress report, 6 months, 1 year, it went on. After 3 years, my secretary said he wants to meet me. I said, he's doing well, why he wants to meet me? No, he's very particular that he wants to meet you. Actually, when people say they want to meet me, I get scared actually for various reasons. One is, what is the next application? That is always in my mind. Second thing is that they call me for some function, because I really feel I cannot talk other than the subject anything else. Someone called me for a medical conference. I said, what can I talk in medical conference? So I really don't understand why people have to invite me for subject which I am not related. So I said, anyway, this boy, why is asking? Anyway, let me go and meet him. I met him. He tells me, ma'am, here afterwards you have to give me 900 rupees. I said, why? He said, the shoelace price has gone up by 10 rupees. 30 rupees a pair of shoelace. Actually, there's a big principle behind that. Then I realized when you give free, and if you don't make an exit policy, I should have told him, look, you will get 600 rupees for next 3 years, or you will get until you finish your 10th class. I mean, you should be very clear when you make, particularly in all NGO or non-profit organization, any memorandum of understanding. It is not on the paper. At least you should be very clear what you are doing, and you should convey it through the correct communication to the other party. And most of the time we go wrong, because we deal, it is not a sales office of commodity. I make 100 watches per day, 30 days, 3,000 watches. It is not that. You are dealing with human beings, and no, you cannot predict human beings' behavior. Under stress, under money, there are many sayings are there in our ancient Veda that when you get money, what happens? What happens? People behave like a drunkard person because it goes to your head. I used to say, oh, it's just written. It's really true. Most of the time when money is there, or when there is a stress situation is there, when the desperate situation is there, how people behave is very difficult to predict. And it varies from culture to culture. And that's the reason I said you must know the culture of the state. So when you communicate it to the other party, if we are going to work, following the MOU and very clear, extremely clear about what you cannot do than what you can do. What you cannot do, you should know. Number 4, we should never ever think that we can change overnight any social situation. It takes time. This lesson my father taught me, because I used to work with the sex workers. Sangamitra will understand that how hard it is to work with sex workers, and what complicated methodologies are available there, and how they get into problem, what makes them to get into that, all that. And my father taught me this one. He said, in your life you can change 10 sex workers' life and make them to lead a normal life. I'll be very glad that I gave birth to a daughter who could change someone's life. Don't think that I will change this 1,000 people at a time. It's not possible, because unfortunately sex workers, corruption and alcohol take longer duration to erase than any other thing, which in my experience is always in 1-digit success rate than any other projects which I have done. In any education project we can go up to 90%, 98%, but working with sex workers, because it's extremely difficult, human related problem. So when you have human related organization problems, your success rates depends on many factors, and one of the component is your passionate and your consistent effort. But it is not all. It is necessary condition, but it is not the sufficient condition. Please understand that. I want to talk about ಬದಲಾಗುತ್ತಿರುವ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಕೋನ. Okay, particularly this. I still have an hour time. This is a true incident. I teach in Bangalore University computer science. I used to teach for a long time. For the last 3 years I am not teaching, because I have become more irregular than my own students because of my workload, and I really don't get time. And students taught me a lot of things. This is ಬದಲಾಗುತ್ತಿರುವ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಕೋನ. In this context I want to tell. When I tell this incident, actually the person, it happened between me and my student, and he told me to quote this example in any of my speech, because this is the best example of changing view. About 15 years back, in any college, I'm sure some college teachers are here, Ashok is here. So we have a last final day, goodbye day. I don't know, Ashok, how is the college day now in BVB? When I was there, they used to give Shira and Uppittu. I always look forward for that actually. You will give a meal or depending on whatever you have, college has, and in Christ College where I teach, it's a Catholic college where we have a sermon. Father will give a sermon and then I will give another sermon, okay. Father will give a sermon from Bible, whereas I will give a sermon from my stories. So once I told a story to my students that, in life nothing is important, compassion is very important. Nothing is not correct, but compassion is a part of your life. It should not be like I will be only compassionate. You should work, but without compassion, your work will be like a golden flower without fragrance, etc. and all those. Then I told a story for that, saying that in olden days, in Buddha's Jataka story, the story comes. There were two kings. One was the king of Kashi and there was the king of Kosala. And they never liked each other and they were traveling in opposite direction. And in those days, there was no golden corridor, 4-line roads were not there. There was only a single line cart road, and they met each other and they were not in talking terms. So their charioteers started talking. They said, king of Kashi's charioteer said, oh, my king is very great, he has 1,000 elephants. That fellow also said, my king is great, he has 1,000 elephants. So whatever this fellow says, he said the same thing is there. So who has to give the way? Because both were equal. At the end, king of Kashi said, my king is the one who will punish the wrong people, who will help good people, and he will love those people who are useful to the society. And the king of Kosala said, my king corrects people who are wrong, my king protects everybody, and he loves including enemy. By listening to that, king of Kashi said, he is the greater person than me, please give him the first, allow him to pass first. So this story I always telling that in life, it is not what you earn is important, how much elephant you have in those days, or how many Mercedes Benz you have is not important, how many houses you have built is not important, how much bank balance you have is not important. You should have a compassionate heart, which is essentially then you are a human being, otherwise you are not a human being. You are like one of those people who are born, who earn and who die. So this is what Buddha taught us 3,000 years back. So I told my students when they were going that please remember, hereafter your syllabus is not fixed. Every day you are appearing for the examination. This is the way how you should conduct, etc.